Hollywood and controversy have long been entwined. Yet certain films have pushed boundaries so far that they threaten to topple the very industry itself. These provocative movies stirred such intense reactions that even Hollywood sought to suppress them. In this examination, we journey through 25 films that faced bans or fierce opposition, uncovering their profound influence on the history of cinema. Hollywood has always embraced controversy, but few films push the envelope quite like Michael Powell's Peeping Tom. Released in 1960, this British psychological thriller dared to plunge viewers into the disturbed mind of a killer. Following Mark Lewis, a reserved cameraman who records his victims' deaths, the film masterfully intertwines voyeurism with horror, creating a groundbreaking yet deeply unsettling experience for its time. Upon its debut, Peeping Tom shocked both critics and audiences. The British press was particularly harsh, condemning the film as sickening and malevolent. Powell, who had enjoyed a celebrated career until then, saw his professional life crumble almost overnight. Audiences were unprepared for the film's disturbing blend of sexuality, violence, and psychological anguish. Unlike the stylized horror of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, released the same year, Peeping Tom felt too visceral, too immediate, and too threatening. Censorship boards quickly moved to ban or severely restrict its screenings. In the UK, it vanished from theaters for many years. Over time, however, Peeping Tom found a new life as a misunderstood masterpiece. Modern critics now recognize it as a pioneering work that helped lay the foundation for the slasher genre and boldly explored the darker powers of cinema itself. The film stands as a powerful testament to the risks and occasional costs of challenging societal norms, illustrating how sometimes pushing the boundaries can threaten even the career of a great artist. In the conservative climate of the 1950s, few films sparked as much scandal as Elia Kazan's Baby Doll. Adapted from Tennessee Williams' one-act plays, the movie's provocative promotional campaign ignited controversy even before audiences saw a single scene. The poster featuring Carol Baker as a young woman in a crib, thumb in mouth, immediately raised eyebrows and fueled public outcry. Set in the American South, Baby Doll centers on a provocative young bride caught in a tense power struggle between her much older husband and a rival. The film's raw portrayal of desire, lust, and manipulation was unprecedented for its time, challenging prevailing notions of morality and decency. Religious organizations, particularly the Catholic Legion of Decency, condemned the film as a grave offense to Christian values and traditional standards. Several states responded by banning Baby Doll outright, and protests erupted outside theaters. Studio executives faced intense pressure for daring to distribute such a contentious movie. However, the controversy only served to draw large audiences, with the film selling out showings. Baby Doll went on to receive 4 Oscar nominations, including one for Carol Baker's compelling performance. In the years that followed, critics revisited Baby Doll, recognizing it as a daring, darkly humorous critique of sexual repression and societal hypocrisy. The film remains a striking example of how Hollywood cinema that pushes boundaries can simultaneously provoke outrage and inspire critical reflection. Released in 1979, Walter Hill's The Warriors is a stylized action thriller set against a dystopian New York City backdrop. The story centers on a street gang falsely accused of murder, embarking on a perilous journey to return home. The film's debut coincided with a spike in urban gang violence, and life imitated art in unsettling ways. Just days after its release, theaters screening The Warriors became hotspots for real-world violence as rival gangs clashed, resulting in injuries, property damage, and even fatalities. In response, many theater owners concerned about public safety canceled showings or pulled the film entirely in numerous cities. Some local authorities even sought total bans. The studio attempted to quell the unrest by suspending advertising and urging cinemas to heighten security measures. Paradoxically, these efforts only fueled public curiosity, propelling the Warriors to box office success. Critical reception was mixed. Some condemned the film as irresponsible, while others lauded it as a visionary take on urban mythology. Today, The Warriors enjoys cult status, celebrated for its striking visuals, pulsing soundtrack, and stylized depiction of violence. It serves as a vivid example of a film whose impact went far beyond the screen, provoking real and lasting reactions. David Cronenberg's 1996 film Crash delves into a disturbing and unconventional subject: individuals who develop a sexual obsession with car accidents. This exploration of desire, technology, and mortality pushed the boundaries of cinema in a way that many viewers found deeply unsettling. At its premiere at the Cannes Film Festival, Crash polarized audiences and critics alike. Some labeled it depraved and offensive, while others defended it as a bold, artistic statement probing society's hidden and taboo urges. The British Board of Film Classification faced immense pressure and ultimately restricted the film's release in the UK. Several local councils banned it, and Canadian cinemas withdrew it from their screens amid public outcry. Protesters argued that Crash glorified perversion and violence, prompting calls for broader censorship. Yet, despite such backlash, passionate supporters viewed Cronenberg's vision as an essential confrontation with the darker facets of human nature. Over time, critical opinions softened, recognizing Crash as one of the decade's most daring cinematic works, a film that challenges audiences to re-evaluate the limits of comfort and the portrayal of obsession on screen. Its lasting legacy stands as a powerful reminder that controversy in film can provoke both discomfort and profound reflection. One film that truly terrified audiences and sparked widespread controversy is William Friedkin's The Exorcist. Released in 1973, this horror masterpiece tells the harrowing story of a young girl possessed by a malevolent demon. The film's graphic and intense scenes were so disturbing that some viewers reportedly fainted or even vomited during screenings. Religious groups swiftly condemned it, accusing the movie of blasphemy and moral corruption. In certain towns, efforts were made to ban the film altogether. Furthermore, rumors began circulating about a curse plaguing the production, with reports of accidents and injuries among cast and crew fueling the controversy. Linda Blair, who portrayed the possessed girl Reagan, received death threats and required bodyguards for her safety. Despite the uproar, The Exorcist achieved tremendous box office success and became the first horror film ever nominated for the Best Picture Oscar. It revolutionized the horror genre, making supernatural terror a mainstream sensation. Decades later, The Exorcist remains a chilling and controversial classic, proving that sometimes the things that frighten us the most are the very things we need to confront. Deep Throat, 1972. While adult films had traditionally existed on the fringes of cinema, Deep Throat broke into the mainstream in a way few could have anticipated. Released in 1972, this X-rated film stunned audiences with its explicit sexual content and its bold marketing as a fun, must-see date movie. The plot, which revolves around a woman's journey towards sexual satisfaction, was almost secondary to the film's openness, humor, and unabashed celebration of sexuality. The movie sparked fierce backlash from conservative groups, religious leaders, and politicians who called for outright bans. The cast and director faced numerous legal battles, with charges of obscenity leveled against them. Police raided theaters, seized prints, and arrested managers in several cities. This uproar propelled Deep Throat into the national spotlight, transforming it into a symbol of the burgeoning sexual revolution of the 1970s. Despite efforts to suppress it, Deep Throat achieved massive commercial success, earning millions at the box office and paving the way for a wave of adult films to enter popular culture. Its impact on censorship laws and sexual politics was profound and lasting. Even today, the film remains a lightning rod for debate, an enduring example of how attempts to stifle provocative art often only serve to amplify its influence. Caligula, 1979. No film better embodies excess and scandal than Tinto Brass's Caligula. This 1979 epic, financed by Penthouse magazine, aimed to portray the notorious debauchery of Rome's infamous emperor in unflinching detail. Combining political intrigue, brutal violence, and explicit sexual content, it shattered Hollywood's traditional boundaries like few films before it. Even prior to its release, Caligula was wrapped in controversy. Actors claimed they were deceived into performing hardcore scenes, and the movie existed in multiple versions, leading to bans and heavy censorship worldwide. In the United States, the MPAA outright refused to rate it, effectively barring its mainstream theatrical exhibition. Nevertheless, the tumultuous production and provocative content helped Caligula achieve cult status. Critics remain divided, seeing it as either a spectacular failure or a wild artistic experiment testing the limits of cinema. Its legacy persists as a contentious discussion about where the line lies between art and obscenity, forever marking Caligula as a defining example of cinema's boundary-pushing potential. Bernardo Bertolucci's Last Tango in Paris stands as one of the most debated and controversial films in cinematic history. Released in 1972, this deeply erotic drama features Marlon Brando and Maria Schneider in a story about an intense, sexually charged relationship between two strangers who meet in Paris. The film's explicit content, especially certain scenes that were revealed decades later to have been filmed without Schneider's full consent, ignited widespread outrage and provoked fierce debates about ethics and consent in filmmaking. In Italy, Last Tango in Paris was banned, and Bertolucci faced criminal charges. In the United States, the film risked receiving the dreaded X rating, while some states chose to ban outright. Audiences and critics were sharply divided. Some praised the film for its raw, unflinching exploration of sexual desire and emotional vulnerability, while others condemned it as exploitative and morally objectionable. The controversy surrounding the movie endures to this day, serving as a powerful cautionary tale about power dynamics in cinema production. Despite the uproar, Last Tango in Paris undeniably impacted the art of filmmaking by opening the door to more candid and risky portrayals of sexuality on screen. Its enduring legacy highlights the complex intersections of artistic expression, ethical responsibility, and the evolving cultural dialogue around consent and representation in film. Possession, 1981, is a film that merges horror, psychological drama, and surrealism in a truly unsettling way. Directed by Andrei Zulawski, this French-West German co-production explores the harrowing deterioration of a marriage through the story of a woman unraveling into madness and her husband's desperate attempts to salvage their relationship. What begins as an intimate domestic drama soon descends into a nightmarish exploration of obsession, laced with graphic violence, disturbing sexual themes, and body horror that shocked audiences upon release. When it premiered, Possession was swiftly branded as a video nasty in the UK, a label for films deemed excessively extreme and inappropriate for public viewing. It faced bans and heavy censorship in numerous countries due to its intense and disturbing imagery. While many viewers recoiled at Isabella Adjani's raw and transformative performance and the film's relentless journey into chaos, critics gradually recognized Possession as a profound metaphor for the traumatic effects of divorce, alienation, and the paranoia of the Cold War era. Over the years, Possession has garnered a cult following and is admired for its audacity and psychological depth. It stands as a potent reminder that the most terrifying horrors often arise not from supernatural forces, but from the disturbing recesses of the human mind itself. by the late 1990s, Hollywood had become more open to addressing provocative themes, yet The Devil's Advocate still stirred significant controversy. Directed by Taylor Hackford and featuring powerful performances from Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino, the film mixed supernatural horror with a sharp critique of corporate greed and moral decay. The narrative centers on a promising young lawyer who is drawn into a prestigious New York law firm, only to discover that the firm is run by none other than Satan himself. The film's combination of religious symbolism, explicit sensuality, and violence triggered censorship in a number of countries. Various Christian organizations called for bans, labeling the movie blasphemous and sacrilegious. Additionally, the film became embroiled in a copyright dispute over an artwork shown in a key scene, leading to alterations in its home video versions. Despite these hurdles, The Devil's Advocate found a devoted audience and earned praise for its thought-provoking themes and compelling performances. Its lasting impact underscores the power of cinema to boldly confront society's deepest taboos and spark meaningful conversations about morality and human nature. Romance, 1999, is a French film directed by Catherine Breillat that boldly confronts the boundaries between art and explicit sexuality. The story centers on a woman's journey of sexual awakening as she strives to find fulfillment beyond her emotionally detached relationship. The film is notable for its raw and unapologetic portrayal of unsimulated sexual acts, featuring adult film actors in real intimate scenes, which ignited considerable controversy across the globe. Upon release, Romance faced bans and censorship in numerous countries. In some regions, it was completely banned, while in others, it was only accessible in heavily edited versions. The film polarized critics and audiences alike. While some praised its candid honesty and exploration of emotional complexity, others labeled it obscene and unsuitable for public viewing. More than just provocative content, Romance sparked vital conversations about female desire, sexual autonomy, and the often hypocritical double standards in censorship practices. Its fearless approach challenged societal norms and cinematic taboos surrounding female sexuality. Despite, or perhaps because of, its contentious nature, Romance has come to be seen as a daring and provocative piece of feminist cinema, continuing to fuel debates about sexuality on screen and the limits of artistic expression. Paul Verhoeven's Basic Instinct, released in 1992, revitalized the erotic thriller genre for a new generation. Featuring Sharon Stone as the enigmatic and seductive novelist Catherine Trammell, whose dangerous allure entangles a troubled detective, the film immediately ignited controversy due to its explicit sexual content, bisexual characters, and graphic violence. This led to protests from censor boards, religious organizations, and LGBTQ advocacy groups alike. Several countries demanded cut versions or outright banned the film. Notably, Singapore and Ireland initially refused its release. Despite the backlash, or perhaps because of it, the film became an international blockbuster. Sharon Stone's iconic interrogation scene remains one of cinema's most talked about moments. Today, Basic Instinct is regarded as a classic of its genre, exemplifying the power of cinema to provoke, titillate, and unsettle audiences all at once. Love Camp 7, released in 1969, stands as one of cinema's most notorious exploitation films, infamous for its shocking portrayal of life inside a Nazi women's prison camp. The movie delves into grim themes of sexual violence and sadism, pushing boundaries in ways that deeply disturbed audiences and censors alike. Due to its graphic and exploitative content, Love Camp 7 faced outright bans in multiple countries, most notably in the United Kingdom, where it remained prohibited for decades. Critics widely condemned the film for exploiting real historical atrocities without offering meaningful artistic insight, raising ethical questions about the portrayal of such trauma for entertainment purposes. Despite, or perhaps because of its notoriety, Love Camp 7 developed a cult following among fans of extreme cinema. Today, the film serves as a stark warning about how cinema can sometimes cross the line into exploitation, reflecting the dark potential of film to both reveal and exploit humanity's most harrowing moments. Visions of Ecstasy, 1989. Among banned films, few are as distinct as Visions of Ecstasy, a 19-minute British short film that holds a unique distinction of being the only movie ever prohibited in the UK for blasphemy. Directed by Nigel Wingrove, the film presents a visual interpretation of the ecstatic visions experienced by the 16th century Spanish mystic Saint Teresa of Avila, merging religious imagery with explicit sensuality. One particularly notorious scene depicts Saint Teresa in a dreamlike embrace with Christ himself, a portrayal that deeply unsettled censorship authorities. Upon submission to the British Board of Film Classification in 1989, the film was denied certification, with officials citing the country's stringent blasphemy laws as their reason. This sparked prolonged legal battles, with the film's advocates championing artistic freedom and calling for the abolition of outdated censorship regulations. Visions of Ecstasy subsequently became a potent emblem of the struggle for creative expression within the arts. The ban was eventually lifted in 2012 following the repeal of blasphemy laws, allowing the film to be seen openly. Today, it stands not just as a curiosity of censorship history, but as a vivid example of how art, religion, and law can collide, and how artistic endeavors continuously challenge society's thresholds of tolerance. Michael Hanke's 1997 film Funny Games is a psychological thriller crafted to unsettle its viewers profoundly. The story centers on a family whose vacation is violently disrupted by two young men, turning their holiday into a nightmare. Unlike typical thrillers, Hanke deliberately withholds any sense of relief or catharsis, leaving audiences grappling with the brutal, unfolding events. Upon release, Funny Games faced bans in several countries due to its stark depiction of violence and its unsettling approach that challenged conventional audience expectations. The film sparked intense debates over whether it condemns or glorifies brutality, given its unflinching portrayal of cruelty without offering easy answers. Hanke described the film as a critical examination of the audience's complicity in screen violence, holding a mirror up to viewers and questioning their engagement with cinematic violence. The director later remade Funny Games shot for shot in English to reach a broader audience, preserving its confrontational style. Both the original and remake remain divisive, serving as powerful examples of how cinema can challenge, disturb, and provoke audiences to confront uncomfortable truths about violence and their own role as spectators. The Blue Lagoon, released in 1980, might appear at first glance as a simple romantic adventure set against a picturesque tropical backdrop. However, upon its release, the film sparked significant controversy due to its portrayal of adolescent sexuality. The story revolves around two young cousins, played by Brooke Shields and Christopher Atkins, who survive a shipwreck and grow up together on a deserted island. The film includes nude scenes featuring Shields, who was just 14 years old at the time of filming, which raised serious ethical concerns and ignited public outrage. Child advocacy groups decried the film, calling for boycotts and investigations into the production. Several countries responded by banning or heavily censoring the movie. Despite these controversies, The Blue Lagoon achieved box office success and became a notable pop culture touchstone. In retrospect, the film is frequently discussed as an example of changing attitudes toward the depiction of youth and sexuality in cinema, sparking ongoing debates about artistic freedom, child protection, and the evolving limits of acceptable content on screen. Cannibal Ferox, 1981, often grouped with the infamous Cannibal Holocaust as one of the most extreme horror films ever made, Cannibal Ferox, also known as Make Them Die Slowly, gained notoriety for its unrelenting violence and genuine animal cruelty. Directed by Umberto Lenzi and released in 1981, the film follows a group of anthropologists venturing into the Amazon rainforest to encounter a tribe of cannibals. Its graphic depictions of torture, mutilation, and animal slaughter sparked outrage among critics and animal rights activists alike. As a result, the film was banned in over 30 countries, including the United Kingdom, where it was prosecuted under the video Nasty Panic. Censors demanded substantial cuts before allowing the film limited theatrical or home video release. Despite, or perhaps because of, its notoriety, Cannibal Ferox has achieved cult status among fans of extreme horror cinema. This film stands as both a testament to the shock value horror can wield and a cautionary tale about the ethical boundaries of exploitation filmmaking. It challenges viewers to question the limits of on-screen brutality and the consequences when reality crosses the threshold into exploitation for entertainment. Anders Als die Andern, 1919. Long before Hollywood's production code or the era of sound films, German director Richard Oswald boldly challenged societal norms with Anders Als die Andern, one of the earliest films advocating for gay rights. The story centers on a renowned violinist whose life is devastated by blackmail due to Germany's anti-homosexuality laws at the time. In an era when homosexuality was criminalized and widely vilified, this film's message was remarkably progressive and compassionate. The authorities quickly reacted. The film was banned and many copies were destroyed. Surviving prints were hidden away for decades, only resurfacing much later. Tragically, the existence of this film was later used by the Nazis as justification for intensified persecution of homosexuals. In recent years, restored footage has revealed just how ahead of its time Anders Als die Andern truly was, offering a powerful plea for empathy and justice. Its legacy endures as a significant milestone in LGBTQ representation, symbolizing the ongoing struggle for rights and visibility on screen. Released in 1988, The Vanishing is a psychological thriller directed by George Sluizer that quietly but powerfully unsettled audiences. The film follows a man's obsessive and desperate search for his missing girlfriend, unraveling into a haunting narrative that challenges typical thriller conventions. What sets The Vanishing apart, and what sparked its controversy, is its chilling and nihilistic conclusion, which denies viewers the comfort of a traditional resolution. Though it wasn't officially banned in most countries, the film faced restrictions and warnings due to its disturbing content and bleak outlook. Audiences expecting a conventional mystery were left confronted with existential dread and a profound sense of helplessness. Critics praised The Vanishing for its masterful craftsmanship, but cautioned that its unsettling ending is not for the faint-hearted. Today, it is considered one of the greatest psychological thrillers ever made, with its controversy stemming not from what is shown on screen, but from its refusal to offer comfort, closure, or easy answers. The Vanishing remains a haunting reminder that sometimes the most provocative films are those that force us to confront our deepest fears alone. Titicut Follies, 1967. Frederick Wiseman's documentary, Titicut Follies, remains one of the most powerful exposés ever captured on film. Released in 1967, this raw, unflinching look inside the Bridgewater State Hospital for the criminally insane in Massachusetts revealed shocking scenes of neglect, abuse, and humiliation faced by the patients. Wiseman's camera documented patients being force-fed, stripped of dignity, and subjected to harsh treatment, painting a harrowing portrait of institutional cruelty. The state government reacted swiftly, banning the film from public release on the grounds that it violated patient privacy. However, many suspected the real motive was to shield the institution from public scrutiny. For over 2 decades, Titicut Follies was barred from general audiences and was shown only in limited screenings for professionals within legal and medical communities. The film's existence sparked fierce debates about censorship, ethics, and the role of documentary filmmaking. When the ban was finally lifted in 1991, audiences were confronted not just with a historical record, but with a call to action. Ticket Follies stands as an essential milestone of cinema verite, a bold and uncomfortable truth that forced society to face the dark realities of mental health care and institutional neglect. No discussion of banned films would be complete without mentioning the infamous Salo or the 120 Days of Sodom. Directed by the Italian auteur Pier Paolo Pasolini and released in 1975. This film is an adaptation of the Marquis de Sada's notoriously depraved novel. More than just a provocative adaptation, Salo serves as a brutal and harrowing meditation on power, fascism, and the darkest recesses of the human soul. The story unfolds around a group of wealthy libertines who kidnap teenagers and subject them to progressively extreme acts of sexual violence, torture, and humiliation. Upon its release, Salo was met with widespread revulsion and censorship. Bans spread across Australia, the UK, New Zealand, and much of Europe. Even seasoned film critics were known to leave theaters early, overwhelmed by the film's unrelenting brutality. The film faced prosecutions for obscenity in several countries and remained accessible only via underground channels for decades. Yet despite its shocking content, many critics defend Salo as a profound political statement, a fearless confrontation with absolute power's corrupting nature. To this day, Salo remains deeply divisive. Some see it as one of art's boldest engagements with evil, while others dismiss it as nihilistic depravity. Regardless of perspective, the film's lasting legacy endures. It challenges viewers to confront humanity's extremes, sparks ongoing debates on censorship, trauma, and the very purpose of cinema itself. Battle Royale 2000. When it comes to films that truly shook the foundations of censorship around the globe, Battle Royale stands apart. Directed by Kenji Fukasaku and released in 2000, this Japanese thriller redefined what cinema could portray, especially concerning youth and violence. Set in a dystopian future, the government randomly selects an entire class of high school students, drops them onto a remote island, and forces them into a brutal fight to the death. Only one may survive. From the moment it premiered, Battle Royale sparked intense debate and controversy. Critics and lawmakers in countries including Japan, Germany, and the United States questioned whether its content might inspire real-life violence among teenagers. While some saw it as a chilling but necessary reflection on societal fears about youth violence and government control, others dismissed it as gratuitously violent and dangerous. The film underwent years of legal battles in Germany before becoming widely available. In many other nations, it faced bans or the harshest classification ratings for years. Beneath its shocking premise, however, Battle Royale is a sharp social critique. It explores themes of trust, betrayal, the collapse of societal rules, and the devastating consequences of authority exercised without empathy. Director Fukasaku, shaped by his experiences with the horrors of World War II, infused the film with a poignant understanding of violence and survival that feels hauntingly authentic. Today, Battle Royale endures as both a milestone of extreme cinema and a compelling commentary on power, fear, and human nature, reminding us how cinema can confront and challenge the darkest aspects of society. Bazimo 2000 is a film that boldly confronts societal norms with uncompromising intensity. Released at the turn of the millennium, this raw and provocative story follows two women consumed by a fierce rage that ignites a violent and sexual rampage. Co-directed by Virginie Despentes and Coralie Trinity, both known for their roots in underground culture, Bazimo deliberately blurs the boundaries between arthouse cinema and explicit pornography. Featuring unfiltered sexual acts and graphic violence, the film challenged even France's famously liberal film industry, resulting in outright bans in some countries, including Australia, and heavy censorship in its home country. So striking was its impact that France introduced a new 18+ rating specifically to accommodate its release. Critics remain divided. While some applaud Bazimo as a potent feminist critique of patriarchal violence, others dismiss it as gratuitous exploitation. Beyond shock value, the film is an anguished outcry from society's margins, exposing the intricate links between trauma, alienation, and rebellion. Whether adored or condemned, Bazimo has indelibly changed conversations surrounding censorship, gender politics, and the transformative role of transgression within art. Natural Born Killers, 1994. Oliver Stone's Natural Born Killers plunges viewers into a psychedelic and intense exploration of America's fascination with violence and fame. Released in 1994, this highly stylized film follows Mickey and Mallory Knox, a couple who embark on a brutal killing spree. The movie serves not only as a crime saga, but also as a sharp critique of media sensationalism and its role in glamorizing violence. From the moment it was released, Natural Born Killers ignited fierce controversy. It was banned outright in countries such as Ireland and Australia, while in other regions it faced heavy censorship and strict age restrictions. The film became a focal point of debate as several real-life crimes were allegedly inspired by its characters, triggering lawsuits and intense discussions about filmmakers' responsibilities. Yet beyond its shock value, Stone's work is a razor-sharp commentary on a society obsessed with spectacle, where killers are turned into celebrities and violence is consumed as entertainment. Today, Natural Born Killers remains both a product and a critique of its era, a feverish, unsettling journey that challenges audiences to confront their own complicity in the culture of violence. Martin Scorsese's The Last Temptation of Christ remains one of the most hotly contested religious films ever released. Premiering in 1988, this film diverged sharply from traditional biblical epics by portraying Jesus Christ as a deeply human figure grappling with doubt, fear, and earthly temptations. William Dafoe's sensitive and vulnerable performance brought an intimate emotional depth rarely seen in religious cinema, presenting Jesus not as an untouchable icon, but as a man facing profound internal struggles. However, this humanization came at a significant cost. Even before the film's official debut, religious groups worldwide launched campaigns calling for its ban, orchestrated protests, and issued threats. The film was prohibited in countries such as Greece, Turkey, and the Philippines. In the United States, theaters experienced picketing, and a screening in France was even targeted in a firebomb attack. Critics of the film condemned it as blasphemous, particularly incensed by a dream sequence that imagined Jesus engaging in a sexual relationship with Mary Magdalene. Despite the backlash, many critics and theologians praise The Last Temptation of Christ as a profound and thought-provoking exploration of faith, sacrifice, and temptation. Scorsese, himself a devout Catholic, intended the film as a spiritual journey rather than a condemnation. Today, it stands as a powerful meditation on belief, doubt, and the cost of true humanity. The enduring controversy surrounding the film highlights cinema's remarkable ability to ignite debate and inspire deep reflection on matters of faith and identity. John Waters' 1972 cult classic, Pink Flamingos, stands out as a film that defiantly embraces its reputation for offensiveness. This midnight movie smashed taboos with gleeful audacity, following the antics of the legendary drag Queen Divine as she competes to claim the title of filthiest person alive. The film's content, marked by outrageous, vulgar, and shocking scenes, continues to provoke reactions decades later. Pink Flamingos was banned in various countries, including Australia, Norway, and parts of Canada, fueling its notoriety as a flagship of transgressive cinema. In the United States, while occasionally screened, it faced obscenity trials that only intensified its cult appeal. Midnight audiences eagerly packed theaters, transforming screenings into raucous, interactive experiences and cementing the film's status as a cult ritual among counterculture enthusiasts. Rather than merely reveling in shock, Pink Flamingos is celebrated as a groundbreaking work in queer and outsider cinema. Waters' fearless embrace of bad taste made it a vibrant homage to society's misfits and rebels. Far beyond a simple freak show, the film is a bold declaration that art should never shy away from provocation or controversy. These films highlight the intricate and often turbulent relationship between artistic expression, societal values, and censorship. The controversies they sparked have served not only as flashpoints for moral debate, but also as catalysts for deeper discussions on the limits of creativity and the evolution of cinema. By challenging audiences and authorities alike, these movies have left an indelible mark on the film industry, illustrating that pushing boundaries, no matter how perilous, can lead to important cultural conversations and enduring works of art. Thank you for joining us on this intense journey through some of Hollywood's most controversial films. If you found this exploration enlightening, please support us by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing for more fascinating stories from the world of cinema. We'd love to hear which band movie surprised you the most. Drop your thoughts below. Stay tuned for more deep dives into cinema's boldest and most provocative moments.